The match between Celtic and Red Star Belgrade has just concluded in a 1-1 draw in a very interesting match. I haven't seen a match like this in the Champions League from Red Star. I'm holding this mic. By the way, I don't even know if this works. I haven't seen a match like this from Red Star in a very long time, and kind of the way that their opponents played and the way the match kind of unfolded. Like I said, in a very long time, and I'll kind of get into that. Just wanted to start off with the starting lineups. I think for Red Star is what people expected. I think the only question was if Duarte was going to start alongside Arnautovic, which we haven't seen too often, although Duarte has taken up that role in attacking midfield position with Ivanic on one wing and Radonic on the other. Radonic was another player we weren't sure if he was going to start or not, and so both did. I think everything else was kind of what we expected. Radonic started off very well, I think, and this is like the two faces of Radonic, where he is extremely good. He can beat defenders, he can set up guys, he has a good shot, and then he'll completely disappear. Now the substitution in the second half, I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that's injury or if Vladimir Milic just decided to go in a different way. And Milson hasn't played in a long time. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, that he's still at the club. So that was the kind of the substitution that happened at halftime, which was a little bit weird. I thought that even though Radonic was out of the match, I thought that he would get the benefit of the doubt just because he has played a little bit more football than Milson. But that wasn't the case. The two big stories, I think, in this match was the Duarte chance that was saved by Kasper Schmeichel, which was an outstanding stop. He saved it and the ball hit the woodwork. That's just a world-class stop. Nothing more than that. At first glance, I thought it just hit the crossbar and that was it, or the woodwork, but you can tell that he did indeed get his hand on it. And the second one was Duarte's ball towards Arnautovic, which he blasted wide of the goal. Obviously could have been better placed. That's first and foremost. And I think secondly, just there was too much power on it that he couldn't really control, and it looked like it fell off his foot. I think he had to do a better job there. If he just kind of feathery touch into the other side of the goal, I think it would have been much better, but he decided to go with the other option, which was blasting it. In terms of both teams were cautious. This is the part that I haven't really seen in previous matches, where what usually happens with Red Star is if they're playing an opponent where they think that they have a chance, they'll go full out in the first 15-20 minutes and won't have any gas for the other 70-75. And I think that was one of the differences between this team and past teams, where they were cautious, but they were they knew that they could have chances throughout the entire match. They just had to kind of wait for that one opportunity, which they got plenty of, which we weren't able to capitalize on, which I'm not happy about. But it was completely different, like I said, in past matches where, we're playing an opponent that's kind of at our level or a little bit above or a little bit below. We go all out in the first 15-20 minutes. We have nothing left in the rest of the match, this was a completely different match than that. And it's very interesting to note. I think that's the difference between this team and teams in the past. I think Celtic were the same way. I think Celtic, coming into this match, would have been happy with a draw. They have two matches at home, I believe, their next two. For us, it's a little bit different. We have this match at home and the next two are away. So to Porto and Braga. So I think we needed the 3 points way more than Celtic did. And like I said, it's just different than other Red Star matches throughout the years with how we approach matches. The Iheanacho goal pretty much came out of nowhere. Tebo pretty much mistimes the ball, and Iheanacho scores the goal. And I think prior to that was when Iheanacho had the chance where Mateus made a stop and then another stop after that, which I thought Mateus was the player of the match, like overall, when you look at this match. And that's kind of what happens when you don't take your chances. All it takes is one for the opponent to have one chance to score one goal. And that's exactly what happens. And this is what I've gone back years talking about this, where in Champions League and in Europa League, Conference League, whatever, you have to take your chances. You have to take your chances because you're playing very good teams from around the world who are going to take theirs. And that's perfect example right there. We have two or three really good ones. We don't score. Celtic have one really good one, they score, then they get confidence, then they get more build up going forward. And they were threatening a lot more in the second half than the first half, where they could have been, satisfied with the result, but they still pushed forward. Their Natovic goal, I think Handel was one of our best players today too. I think he was probably our third best player. Sewell, I think, was second best. His corner kicks are very good, and Tebo pretty much, it was his fault for the first goal. It was his reward was assisting our first goal, the second goal in the match, to Natovic, which was great to see. And then I think we pushed forward. Mirko Ivanic had the chance right after that, where he's got to do much better than that. And Kasper Schmeichel did a great job of saving that. It was, to be fair, it was right at his feet, so he shouldn't have difficulties in stopping that type of keeper that he is. But that's like another one that you kind of circle and you say you wish you had that one back and that it was better placed. The match as a whole, again, I thought it was like almost a boxing fight where, for 15 minutes one team is better, and then 15 minutes the other team is better. That's kind of like the rounds, if you want to, first round, second round, whatever, when one fighter's better and then the next round the other fighter's better. I would kind of classify a match like that. And then there's, times where it got really sloppy. One thing I'll say is I thought that the Red Star mistakes could have been a lot more costly than what Celtic had when Celtic made mistakes. I feel like Celtic mistakes were, the ball's misplayed and it goes out of bounds. Whereas the Red Star, when we had our mistakes, it was to the feet of the opponent where they can go on a counterattack. And that's the part that I was really scared of in this match. And I was happy that we were able to neutralize Celtic's front three, especially Maeda, who I feel like had more offsides than touches with the ball. I think we did a very good job in containing him. I think Celtic players, Nygren, I thought he's exceptional with the ball. And then also I can't remember his name, but the Tunisian player is very smooth tactically. He's very good at getting behind defenders and creating for his team. I thought that he was very, very good today. And like I said, Nygren was excellent too, I think, in pulling the strings in the midfield and just really creating for his team. And I thought it was more of a bend don't break mentality for Celtic in the final 10 minutes, where they obviously didn't want to concede the goal, but it was very shaky at the back. So and we couldn't take advantage of that. And so it's a pretty even match, I think, overall. Is it a fair result, 1-1? I don't know. Leave it to me in the comments. Leave me in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you think that 1-1 is the right result, if you think a draw is, fair for both teams. I think that when you take a look at some of the opportunities that Celtic had in the second half, I think that it is a fair result. If I had to kind of lead towards one way, I would say that if there's one team that deserved a victory, I thought it was Red Star, but we cost ourselves in not be able to take our chances and not picking up the 3 points, which I think we needed the 3 points much more than Celtic did, and Celtic are at home now for the next two matches. So best of luck to Celtic in the Premiership and in the Europa League. We faced Rangers, just to kind of get off topic a little bit, but we faced Rangers a few years back, and I always said when these Europa League and Champions League campaigns start, if there's two teams I want to play, it's Celtic or Rangers. I think that they have the most storied rivalry in football, and it was a pleasure playing Rangers a few years ago. It's a pleasure playing Celtic now. Like I said, every year that we're in the Champions League, Europa League, whatever, I want to play Celtic and Rangers. I've always said the other derbies are great, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, all that's great, but I think that this is the biggest derby in football. Boca Juniors and River Plate. It's all great. It's all great. But I don't know why, but I like playing against Scottish teams, and they really test you. I just do enjoy. And those are the matches that I always say, when I take a look at the draw and Celtic Rangers are there, I always want to play them. I always want to play the best teams. I never tried to. I want my team to play the best teams because it's a great measuring stick to see how far we've come. And I say the same thing in Champions League last year. I say the same thing in Europa League this year. Give us the best teams. Let's see how we stack up. Celtic fans, if you want to leave your comments below, you're more than welcome to. What you thought of the match. If you went to the match, how was the atmosphere? If you watched at home, and you were enjoying a nice little beer, maybe more than one, what you thought of the match. And yeah, just let me know below what you guys thought. And like, again, best of luck to Celtic in the Premiership and in Europa League going forward.